So I heard there is possibly a Martin reboot. You know, the 90s show Martin starring Martin Lawrence. Plus, I saw a TMZ video where Martin Lawrence, Tisha Campbell-Martin, and Tashina Arnold were together, and some woman behind the camera asked them if there is a possible Martin reboot. Martin Lawrence said, "Never say never." They all look great, still look the same as they did in the 90s. Black on crack for a reason. Not to say there's no such thing as white on crack, because I'm sure there are plenty of white people that age well and still look the same as they always have, but the majority of the time you just see black on crack when it comes to black people still looking the same. Anyways, it's good to see Martin and Tisha Campbell-Martin together again, since they have not spoken in years due to Tisha filing a lawsuit against Martin and the show's producers for Martin sexually harassing and abusing her. Also, verbal and physical assaults were involved. I mean, Martin was obsessed and had a crush on her to the point he stalked her. Her husband, Dwayne Martin, didn't like Martin Lawrence, especially when he didn't like the scenes of them kissing. Well, I mean, in the show Martin and Gina were a married couple, so what do you expect? Of course they're supposed to kiss. They were a married couple in the show. I don't know, maybe he has some type of jealous side to him, but I'm pretty sure he didn't like Martin Lawrence in general because of all the sexual harassing and abusing he did to her. It looks like Martin and Tisha have settled their differences, realized life is too short, and that's that. That's good, and bury the hatchet. Does Dwayne Martin still dislike Martin Lawrence? Maybe, or he's gotten over about what happened back in the 90s. Carl Anthony Payne II, who played Cole, was at first not thrilled with the reboot since he and Martin never saw eye to eye in the 90s. But now it sounds like he's on board for the reboot. So, my thoughts on the possible Martin reboot, I'm not sure if it's actually going to work. I have mixed feelings about it. First thing, we all know Thomas Michael Ford, who played Thomas Strawn, unfortunately passed away on October 12, 2016. So I don't think a Martin reboot would be the same without Tommy. I was thinking they would do a Martin reunion special instead of an actual Martin reboot. Plus, if they would have thought about this Martin reboot idea like back in 2008 when Thomas Michael Ford was still alive, then I surely would have said yes. I think it would actually work. But now that he's passed away, it's like, I don't know, that seems kind of tricky. It won't be the same with just Martin, Gina, Pam, Cole, and no Tommy. I doubt they will replace him with a new character. So if the reboot does happen, will they kill off his character? Or will they have him alive in the reboot where he gets a job in Detroit? I mean, I guess they could do it that way, but it still wouldn't be the same without Tommy. I remember the one episode of Will and Grace in the reboot. I found out that Rosario died in the one Will and Grace episode back in November, because the woman that portrayed as Rosario, she has retired now. So I guess the people of Will and Grace decided that maybe it's best to just kill off the character. But I thought they was just going to not kill off Rosario and keep her alive, but she just move away somewhere else. But they didn't do that. Karen, she was heard about Rosario's death. Grace was trying to help her out, because then Grace mentioned that her mother died. Debbie Reynolds played Grace's mother on Will and Grace. And I like how they also mentioned Jerry Lewis, how Grace and her family honored him by naming their dog Lady, so they can just say Lady. So I'm guessing maybe Martin will do something what Will and Grace did. Second thing, where would the reboot go? Carl Anthony Payne II thinks the reboot would be a smarter and better move to be on Netflix, since Netflix have plenty enough room for shows to have a new home. I mean, I guess that could work, either that or maybe it could return to Fox. The show could go back to Fox since Martin originally ran for its entire 5 seasons on Fox. What shows does Fox air on Thursdays that people will want to see nowadays? I mean, that's if Fox really wants Martin back. And finally, will the characters be the same? I mean, on Martin and Gina and Pam and Cole and Tommy, they were pretty much wild and crazy, laugh out loud characters. Will they still be the same wild and crazy characters as of 2018? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that them being in their late 40s and 50s or whatever, they will still be the wild, crazy characters. I just don't see that as of 2018. I could see Martin and Gina possibly having kids now because in the last season, in the series finale, Martin and Gina ended up moving to Los Angeles, and Cole, Tommy, and Pam, they stayed in Detroit. So will like Pam and Cole move from Detroit to Los Angeles and stick with Martin and Gina? Or will there be some episodes where they like make guest appearances just to see Gina and Martin, and they still have Tommy still in Detroit with a job? I don't know how that's going to work out. So I'm not sure about this whole Martin reboot. I mean, if they still want to go for it, hey, be my guest. But I really don't see how it'll still be the same without Tommy. Give me your thoughts on the possible Martin reboot. Do you think it will work even without Tommy? I'm pretty sure they saw the ideas of doing a reboot when they noticed that Roseanne is getting a reboot and Full House equal Fuller House shows of the 90s. All right, that's it. See you later.